Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are presented by the Hula Bowl. Today I have with me Matt O'Donohue, to his teammates known as the OD. He's a long snapper at Montana. How you doing today, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing just fine. So long snapper, definitely an interesting position for you. I mean, I know that you're also an All-American at that position, which is awesome. Tell me a little bit about your history, dude. Maybe where you're from, and then just kind of lead us up to where you are right now at Montana.
Yeah, I'm from Orange County, California. I went to Foothill, and I've been playing football since I was like 7. And then once I got to high school, I wasn't really like one of the tallest or like bigger guys on the team. And we needed a long snapper. And my dad was like, if you want to play college football, you should probably learn how to do that. And so me and my dad, we kind of worked on it, and then kind of just like taught ourselves how to do it as I went through high school. And then ended up like March of my senior year getting a coach from one of the coaches from Montana. And then he asked if I wanted to come play football at Montana. I didn't have any other offers and I wanted to play. So I was like, I'll take it. And I was pretty excited, pretty pumped. And then I don't know, it's kind of how I ended up in Montana. It's not like a super crazy story. Pretty simple.
No, it's all right. I mean, so oftentimes when people look at a long snapper, they're like, man, like he's just a long snapper. Like, tell me a little bit about like you and your role on your team. I mean, I know that a lot of people have high praise for you, but I kind of want to just hear it from you. I mean, talk to me just kind of about your role on the team there at Montana.
I mean, just the long snapper thing. I mean, Coach Hauk, when we do like tackling drills and stuff, we're in there doing tackling drills. And it's usually like, not like people trying to tee off on you, but there's no way I'm going to let someone try and tee off on me. So I'll usually try to like hit them hard, not as hard as I can, but like give it back right to them. So I usually like take pride in not just being a long snapper. Most of the specialists here like to hit once they get used to it after their first couple of days of camp. Like, I mean, we all like to hit once we get out there. But
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. And Matt, like you got yourself some pretty good size at that position. I mean, you look like a big pumping linebacker at about 6'1", 255 pounds. So I mean, have you ever, I guess, been put in at other positions, like either like maybe during practice, long snapping or fullback or anything? Have they tossed that idea around to you at all?
No, not here at Montana. In high school, I played some O-line, but here at Montana, it's just long snapping. And then, yeah, that's basically it. I did scout team my freshman year just because we had injuries on our team. But yeah, just long snapping the last couple of years.
So I mean, yeah. Well, reason why I ask is occasionally I'll get a long snapper who like is like the jack of all trades, and he just kind of goes like everywhere. So that's the reason why I wanted to touch on that. So, when we look at a long snapper, what do you feel is like the key attributes of like an elite long snapper? What does an elite long snapper look like to you?
I think your accuracy's got to be perfect. Can't bat 900 as a long snapper because that'd be really bad. But so yeah, you got to be accurate every time, and then got to have good speed on the ball when it's getting back there, and then a good blocker, and then you got to be able to run down field and make a play. You can't just, I don't know, when you look at other teams, it's if you have a guy like a snap, run down field and make a play, it's a lot more to worry about instead of just letting a guy run down field free because the return is going to go right by him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, you got to do a little bit more there. I mean, you're snapping on field goals, punts, and then whenever you are snapping the ball to your kicker, to the punter, you're running down the field hoping to make that tackle. So definitely kind of neat. Who do you feel is like the best guy to do it in the league right now? Do you have any any guys that you looking at like when you study film?
I see the Colts long snapper Luke Rhodes a lot. Like I see videos of him snapping on Twitter, so I kind of see what he's doing, and then try to like compare it to like what I'm doing, and yeah, to like make adjustments
So
basically.
so like when you are training, tell me about your approach to training and maybe even like some of the things that you do like on a regular basis, like maybe some of those drills.
Yeah, so I try to keep my warm up somewhat the same every day. When I'm working with like our younger long snapper, like we'll start with at like 3 yards, then work to 5, and then slowly work to 10, and then work our way back to 15. But we just start with like slow motion snaps to make sure like the flow of your arms is good. And then we'll do straight leg snaps, which kind of helps out with speed
Hmm.
at about 10 yards. So you're just using like your upper body and your arms. And then you'll slowly work your way back to 15 just to like do a full motion snap. And then I make sure every time like to work on my blocking footwork, because if your footwork's down, it makes it 1,000 times easier to block someone in a game. So and then making like that transition from snap to block as quick as possible with like following through on your snap. I think that's like a big thing that I work on a lot. Just because the quicker you could get that, the quicker you could snap the ball. Like snap it a lot smoother while getting up to block a guy at the same time, basically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, need to work on accuracy. Also, need to be ready and prepared to block. I mean, you talked a little bit about there, just kind of working your upper body, which kind of my train of thought takes me to the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
What are you working on like in the weight room, and maybe like I don't know, tell me about like your favorite like lift in the weight room.
I'd say in the weight room, we do the same workouts as like everyone else does. It's not like different because you're a specialist. I mean, it's been the same for like the last 5 years. If everyone else is squatting, you're squatting too. It's not like you're taking it easy or something. But I'd say favorite lifts. I like power clean a lot, and then probably bench too. I feel like everyone likes bench. It's kind of, I don't know.
It's it's
So I
it's a
think like, that's something
it's a
everyone likes.
manly lift. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people like it because I mean it's just a manly lift. So
yeah.
neat. So I mean you've been at Montana for a while. Do you have any particular I guess highlight or memorable moment that you want to talk about of your career?
I would say for sure the Washington game, just like we talked about earlier. Like the Washington game, that was pretty cool, memorable moment. And then the home Weber State game in 2019, that was a pretty fun game too. I think those two games are up at the top of my list of memorable moments for sure.
Yeah, I mean you figure you guys had a pretty good 2019 season. I mean, unfortunately, we had a year of pandemic and fear and
Mhm.
everything that a lot of people had, and then of course coming out, this past spring, playing some games, and then of course now. So let's backtrack just a little bit about the COVID season. I mean, you guys only had 2 games. Um,
Mhm.
tell me how you stayed motivated during that time.
The way I thought about it was like a year to get better, honestly. Like if you just sat around and didn't do anything with that extra time, you just wasted like a whole year basically. So I mean, I just took the year to get as good as possible, base like with all this extra time. So yeah, I mean, we had a whole fall basically to get better and a whole winter to get better. So I definitely try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I mean, people took advantage of a whole lot of things. I mean, obviously, you have another year in the
Hmm.
classroom. Um,
Hmm.
so let's talk about you outside of football. Anything about you that you want to share? We could talk maybe about like you as a student first, and then just kind of work from there and talk about some other fun things. So, share with me what you got going on in the classroom there at Montana.
Yeah, so I studied communications here at Montana because what I if football doesn't work out, like the what I've always wanted to be is a police officer. So like I've done communications and then now I'm doing a post back in sociology with like an emphasis in criminology.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've kind of been studying or looking at law enforcement, like taking law enforcement classes here at Montana. And so that's something I've always been interested in doing. So
Fun.
that's what kept school interesting.
So tell me about like you, like what do you do when you're not thinking or doing anything football? Like what do you do for fun? I mean, any of your interests outside of football?
Usually when I'm not at football at school, I'm usually working. I work at like a golf course here in town, so I work in the pro shop
That's
and then
not
bar.
work. Don't lie.
I work at a golf or the pro shop and bartend a few days a week, so
Okay, okay,
that's usually
that's
what I'm
fair.
doing. Yeah, and if I'm not doing that, I'm usually out. I don't know, just hanging out with buddies, basically.
Gotcha.
Whatever it is.
So a couple fun questions for you. If it was the zombie apocalypse and you had to pick three of your teammates to have in your corner, um, who comes to mind for you?
3 teammates.
Three teammates, and again, it's the zombie apocalypse, so like you need to make sure to have those guys in your corner. You know, uh,
I'd say I'd probably take like Jace Lewis. He'd for sure be one. And then I don't know, probably like Braxton Hill, and I don't know who would be my third, honestly. But I don't know, it'd be a for sure Montana kid because all of them love to hunt and they'd all have a good shot. So I think I'd be in good hands.
right. Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of guys out there. I mean, that's kind of what you got to do. You got to learn how to, use a rifle. I know a lot of
Yeah.
kids out there like to do that sort of thing. So, you got a favorite movie? You have a favorite movie you want to share? I mean, anything that you have to like whenever it's on TV, you got to stop and watch it.
I'm a big fan of like the 007 movies, like James Bond. So I'm pretty excited the new one comes out in a few days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. Matt, as we begin to wrap things up a little bit, I always try to ask this question to everybody, and um, tell me why you play football, maybe why you started as a kid, why you're playing now, and just kind of your motivation.
Um, I think the main reason I love football, it's like the best team sport possible. And so everyone has to do your 111th. And when someone else doesn't do their own 111th, it usually falls apart. So I mean, I think I just love it because it's like the best team sport possible. And there's
Yeah.
not a lot of sports where you could go out and hit someone too.
Yeah, and of those 111s, I mean, we need a long snapper. We need somebody out there to do that job. So, um,
Hmm.
go ahead and give your pitch to all these teams in the NFL. I mean, why should they really take a chance on you, bring you in? I mean, what makes you special as a prospect?
Did you freeze?
No, I'm still here, dude.
Oh,
What's your?
okay, sweet.
Go ahead.
You
Just
want to
say.
say it again? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
No, it's okay. Just give your pitch to all these NFL teams. Tell them why they need to take a chance on you, bring you in, why they need to even draft a long snapper like you.
I mean, I don't know. My big thing is I'm a hard worker and I'm not going to let anyone outwork me. That's like been my thing since my freshman year. I mean, once I got to college, I knew I was going to have to battle for a spot. And then I just ended up working as hard as possible, like getting in the weight room extra, making sure like everything's perfect on the field. I don't know, just being like the hardest worker you could possibly be. That's like my mentality. And that's like my driving, motivating thing in football. And then another thing would be, I don't know, I try to be like a perfectionist. I wouldn't say that, but like I try to like perfect my craft of snapping, I would say. And then I'm gonna keep working my hardest until it's perfect every single time. I would
Yeah,
say
well,
that would be good.
and like I mean, obviously that's what you got to be at the long snapping position. I mean, because like you said, if you're 90%, like that's horrible as a long snapper. Like you need to be like 9.99.99999%. I mean,
You got to be
some
100%.
exactly. I mean, you know what
Yeah,
I mean. I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you got to be on top of your game. I mean, and the thing is I mean, And a player like you, I mean, you're an All-American. You've been an All-American for a while. I mean, well established there at Montana. Montana's got a lot of grizzly, guys there. Sorry for the pun, had to use it. But gritty as well. I mean, guys that really, they're grinders out there on the field, just like you, and know how to get the job done. So, Matt, thanks you so much for coming on and doing this interview with me. I mean, I think it's great. Great opportunity to get a chance to meet one of the best long snappers in all the small schools, really, and even rank you amongst everybody else. I think you have a darn good shot at the pros. So people definitely need to pay attention to what you got going on there at Montana.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. Again, this is Matt O'Donohue, long snapper, Montana, the OD. Thanks again.